This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
And welcome to the X-Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell, and for the next 4 hours, I'm your host and your guide as together we cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X-Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And the X-Zone comes to you Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern, right here on the Talkstar Radio Network and the X-Zone Broadcast Network, on all of our affiliates that are growing wildly right across Canada, the United States, Central America, the Caribbean, South America, the Pacific Rim, Asia, India, Africa, and Europe. If you'd like to give us a call, toll-free worldwide, 1-800-610-7035. That's 1-800-610-7035. Email xzone at xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv at hotmail.com. And our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. My first guest tonight here on the X-Zone is Jerry Hoskey. He is a gifted healer, helper, and spiritual teacher with more than 20 years of experience. With a remarkable background as a natural-born intuitive business and investment consultant, mental health specialist, certified personal trainer, and certified weight management consultant, Jerry is able to apply an integrated whole-person approach to healing. His extraordinary insight and unmatched psychic accuracy have earned him renown with celebrities, pro athletes, and private clients from around the world. He is the pioneer behind the Golden Sanctuary process, a new way of healing mind, body, and spirit by bringing them into alignment, ultimately empowering individuals to achieve enlightenment and self-actualization. He also teaches energy seminars on mind, body, spirit, and health. A mainstay of media, Jerry has been featured on every major network, including ABC, CBS, Fox, and NBC. He has also taught at the exclusive Chopra Center and Learning Annex, gaining renown for making an astounding difference in the lives of clients all over the world. And joining us now is Jerry Hoskey. Jerry, welcome to the X-Zone.
Thanks for having me, Rob. I really appreciate it. Nice to talk to you.
Jerry, how did you discover these gifts that you have that have been making so much change in so many lives?
Well, I guess I was born with it, but when I was in college, I worked a few jobs to pay my way through school, and one of the jobs was a shoe job. I sold shoes. Mm-hmm. And a woman came in who read palms, and I was curious about that, and she read my hands, and it just sparked something in me. She didn't teach me anything. I just kind of thought that I intuitively could do that. And then I started exchanging readings with people who did it for a living. I was clear I had some gifts there. And from there, I had a girlfriend that read tarot cards, and I just picked up the cards, and I knew what everything meant, and I could just do it. So I felt like I was supposed to do it and help people. And another way that I serve through God to help people with their past, present, future, and their life mission. So that's how I started doing it.
How do you deal with skepticism?
Well, I'm okay with that because my personal thing is I just pray that I'm helpful and accurate for people, and people don't have to believe me. The proof's always in the pudding, and sure. I guess the ultimate way to judge an intuitive is if he or she's accurate about your past, present, and future. And of course, no one sees perfect. We all see God vaguely through a dark glass, but some can see a little bit better, like vision, and some don't have as good a vision. And I was fortunate that God's given me some vision about these kind of things, and I just want to help people. So if people don't believe me, that's fine with me. It's okay.
Seeing is believing. Hearing is believing. Jerry Hoskey is our special guest of this first hour of tonight's show. His website is www.psychicfitness.com. That's www.psychicfitness.com. X-Zone.com. And Jerry Hoskey and I will be back on the other side of this commercial break in 2 minutes as the X-Zone continues from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the Talkstar Radio Network and the X-Zone Broadcast Network from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away. We'll be back right after this 2-minute break.
This is Kevin Randall. For nearly 30 years, I have been investigating the case of the Roswell UFO. I have interviewed hundreds of people and stood on the crash site. Now in Roswell in the 21st century, I have reviewed dozens of hours of audio and videotaped interviews, examined hundreds of files that relate to the crash, and have returned to Roswell in an attempt to put all that information into the proper perspective. For the first time in Roswell in the 21st century, I have made a dispassionate reevaluation of all that material and provide a new look at what happened. This is a book that clears away all the clutter that has hidden the truth for so long, strips away the various lies that surround the case, exposes the Air Force attempts at cover-up, and found a core of solid information that tells us all where the case stands today. Roswell in the 21st century will be available in just a few weeks. For more information, please visit my website at www.kevinrandall.blogspot.com.
Gibbs A. Williams, Ph.D., is a practicing psychoanalyst, supervisor, researcher, and author in New York City. Much of his life has been dedicated to understanding nature and the uses of meaningful coincidences or synchronicities. His radical and original non-Jungian, non-mystical, non-magical theory of synchronicities illuminates much of the fog surrounding this challenging and perplexing topic. His ideas and manners are fresh, presented in a style that is both entertaining and highly informative. He is also an expert on crisis intervention, specially focused on violence reduction for the police and citizens, mastering anxiety, frustration, and stress without the use of medication, and effectively preventing and treating heroin addiction. Dr. Williams can be contacted at his email address at gwwilliamsny11@aol.com or visit his website at www.drgibbswilliams.com.
Shamanism is recognized as a method to access the quantum level. Mastery of shamanic skills puts spiritual information and healing power into your hands. Path Home Shamanic Art School, a bonded Colorado certified occupational school, has met rigorous state standards, ensuring its director and instructors have the qualifications to teach the shamanic arts. Path Home offers its certification program in blocks of study. Block 1, a 5-day intensive, will be held in the beautiful mountain town of Coaldale, Colorado, October 13th through 18th. Registration deadline is September 12th. Experience journey trance, power animals, helping spirits, sacred space, and life purpose. Come discover your power. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, in the magical world of shamanism. Call 303-775-3431 or visit findyourpathhome.com.
With each new extreme weather event or terrorist act, it becomes increasingly obvious that we live in uncertain and challenging times. We all buy car insurance. Why not collapse and catastrophe insurance? Matthew Stein, an MIT-trained engineer and green builder, has written 2 outstanding books to help people prepare, plan for, and deal with everything from minor situations lasting a few days to full-on collapse. Matt's first book, When Technology Fails, is a manual for self-reliance, sustainable living, and surviving the long emergency. This massive book covers the gamut from first aid and emergency preparedness to alternative healing, renewable energy, primitive living skills, and 18th century technologies that could be critical to your comfort and survival in a long-lasting crisis. Matt's second book, When Disaster Strikes, is a comprehensive emergency preparedness handbook and survival guide. When Disaster Strikes is an essential item for every family's go bag. Both books are available at all usual sources. There's a wealth of totally free information posted at whentechfails.com, and author-signed copies may be purchased at mattstein.com. That's www.whentechfails.com and www.mattstein.com. Jerry Hoskey is my very special guest this first hour of tonight's show. His website is www.psychicfitness.com. And Jerry, we were talking when we did your intro about balancing the mind, the body, and the spirit. How exactly do you do that?
Well, it depends on what the client wants. Some people just want fitness, and I am in the fitness business, so I could just straight up train them, and help them with their diet and all that. And some people want everything balanced, and what I would do typically if they want everything is I would probably start with a cold reading and just tell them everything I see about them in their mind, body, and spirit. So look at their health, of course. Look at what their, I believe everyone has a mission or a life purpose, if you will, and I would kind of talk about that, and that could coincide with the career they're on, or maybe there's some other things coming, or maybe even some changes coming. A lot of people want to know, obviously, about their finances and stuff like that, and that's part of balancing their mind, body, spirit, because if we're worried about stuff. So I would speak on that, and then basically look at any past issues that they may have about their family, or, blocks to love, giving and receiving love, and some lessons there for them that they might want to look at or consider. And then from there, develop a game plan for each of those areas, mind, body, and spirit, to help them improve if they work with me ongoingly, and that's what it would look like.
Jerry, as a person who has been in this spiritual realm for many, many years now, ever since you were a youth, I would imagine ever since you were born, why do you think that so many people today are turning to what many consider to be alternative spirituality, when what you and I are discussing to me is just spirituality?
Well said, first of all. I think that, ultimately that, they say the truth will set us all free. And sometimes these certain, maybe standard religions, and there's many ways to roam here.
Sure.
So I think every path could be a good path if it's used rightly. But I think some people have been disillusioned with maybe some of their religious beliefs, maybe, some of the scandals and whatnot from the past. And I think people are searching for a core truth. When you boil down a lot of these religions, a lot of them are about loving others and treating others kindly and stuff like this. And I think that a lot of the metaphysical, if you will, or some of this, what people might term New Age, a lot of it does boil down to maybe that minus all these rules of how you have to do it. And I think that, I do think it's a little bit of truth will set you free, and the proof's in the pudding with this. And I think if things work in your life spiritually, and you see the fruits of that, I think that is a very compelling evidence for people to look at different options.
Jerry, in these very trying times with the unemployment rate so high, the financial stability of the nation questionable, the terrorism that is wreaking havoc around the world, including Russia this morning, had two terrorist attacks in two subway stations. When I last checked, 37 people had lost their lives. How do people around the world protect themselves from the negativity that is all around us?
I believe a lot of our negativity starts within. If you break it down to quantum physics, which I'm sure you're well aware of, being a student of everything, thoughts are things, and as we believe, so shall we see, and all that stuff. So I think a little bit it's of course we want to keep ourselves safe and protected, and not put the Lord our God to foolish test, if you will. Not put yourself in danger and harm's way intentionally. But also, I think it's a little bit about our attitudes and what we expect and project. And I think that the more that we can kind of heal ourselves internally, whether it comes to parent issues or love issues, or acceptance of ourselves as we are and as we're not, in a good way, and growing towards trying to improve ourselves every day, I think that's the best protection. Right action always begets right action. And I think that of course there's maybe some karma for everybody to go through, or some lessons, if you will. But I believe that the more that we can kind of spiritualize our life, or pray that we are guided and helped and believe that, I think that is the best protection there is.
How do you, as a very gifted intuitive, handle all the pain and suffering that goes on, not only in the present, but what you're able to foretell in the future. And then again, when you're talking to people on a one-to-one basis, Jerry, how do you deal with their pain from the past?
Well, a couple things. I'm sure you've heard the term that a lot of this is just a play, and we're acting in a play to work out lessons about giving and receiving love. So, a little bit in the best way, being committed but unattached, and then I love people and I want to help people best I can, but also you don't want to tap into their drama. If someone thinks they're blue, and then they're the color blue as a person, and they believe that, if I give that a lot of weight, then maybe that will prolong their suffering. Why? I believe in lessons. So sometimes things happen, and look at some of our pain in our own life, and some of these have been the seeds of our greatness in a lot of ways if we get the lesson of it. And look at a lot of the breakthroughs that people have had. Edison, with the 10,000 failures,
sure,
and this, that, and the other. And it's a lot of it is a little bit like working through it, and the lessons that present themselves help you to grow and help us to grow and be better people. So as long as they see it in that light, and I try to look at it that light and help them find solutions for their challenges, versus I get caught up and I have a lot of empathy and care and I'm just prayerful that I'm very helpful to people, but also I don't want to prolong their suffering by adding to it as far as giving too much validity. Even though, of course, these challenges are real, but the lessons may be better than the challenge, and the lessons of love might be better ultimately for them. So I look at those things.
I've got a saying that I've always had ever since I can remember, and it's your life lesson starts with your very first failure.
Well said.
Because people in today's society, because we are so technologically advanced, so we believe, they expect immediate results. And everything in time takes time. Nothing happens overnight. There is no overnight success. There is no overnight richness. And as you so well pointed out with Edison, 10,000 failures for one success.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of people, I think, believe, I could be a victim of this myself. You could stop at the 1 yard line if you're not careful. You're not really realizing the next play could score.
That's right.
And I think there's a lot about, keep going and keep praying and keep trying and don't give up until there's dirt on you. That's my feeling. And I try to live that. Of course, it can be, challenging at times, but what choice do we have? It's better to keep trying and keep believing. And like you said, a lot of times the failures are important lessons.
That's right.
When things are smooth sailing, we don't really learn much sometimes.
As an intuitive, what are some of your predictions for the year 2010 in America, Jerry?
Well, regarding the economy, first of all, I think it's going to get a little better and then a little challenging. There's still some kinks to work out, whether it's the housing thing that's still going to be kind of like, I'm reminded of a blocked drain, in that they try to clear the drain, and it looks like it's done at first, but there's still some hairballs down there. Not to be graphic, but I'm left with some of the changes they're trying to make here are still going to be, I see that, and of course I think it's a common belief that the housing was the big, domino that started all this in a lot of ways, and then all the fake loans and whatnot, if you will, or the manufactured loans that weren't based on merit, if you will. And I think that there's still stuff they're trying to do. They're really trying to walk that balancing act between giving enough but not giving people free rides, and I think that's a challenging road. I do think that this new thing that they're doing, as far as the helping some of the people that are 120% underwater or something like that, I think that's going to have some temporary benefit, but I still think the drain is clogged ultimately, and they may need to have it let it settle on its own a little bit and then build from there.
But can you just imagine the relief those people are feeling?
Imagine how what?
The relief, those people who are so far behind the eight ball that every moment the phone goes off, they're thinking their house is going to be repossessed or their creditors are going to come knocking down the door. With this temporary relief, even if it is only for 6 months, it's going to help a lot.
Well, I hope so, and I guess that what I see is that people the banks aren't totally obligated to do it, or that they will probably. But look at some of the other things that they did that some of the banks really didn't participate in, even though it was probably a good program. So I think that there could be still some of that, a little bit there, even though the government will try to pressure them.
How about
and of course I want everyone to stay in their homes, and I hope they all do. Of course, no one wants this, and I think the government is trying. I just think it's a very complicated issue, and obviously you don't need a psychic to see that. But I do think it's going to be a temporary relief, but there still needs to kind of bottom out, if you will. I'm reminded much of an alcoholic that has to hit a full bottom, and I'm not saying that the housing is going to go back to where it was. I just think it's going to have to settle here, like the pediment on the ground, if you will, a little bit more. And I do think that California and Florida are going to be the leaders out of the market, if you will, out of the change.
Interesting. Jerry, you and I have to take a commercial break with the news at the bottom of the hour. When we come back, I'd like to talk to you about healthcare, 2012, Afghanistan, and the safety of the president, because I've spoken to a number of psychics who all are pointing the finger at potential problems when it comes to the safety of our president. Jerry Hoskey is our very special guest, X-Zone Nation, and we'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with Jerry, with the news, as we continue from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Now, if you'd like to contact Jerry for a one-on-one consultation or find out more about the fitness psychic, his website is www.fitnesspsychic.com. That's www.
Psychic Fitness.
I'm sorry, psychicfitness.com. Dyslexia at my age, just imagine that. www.psychicfitness.com. You see, he knew I was going to say that because he was psychic. That's why he was ready. We'll be back on the other side of this commercial break. Don't go away.
It was a terrifying experience.
I thought we was going to go to jail for murder.
That day, we were a little behind, so we worked until it was starting to get dark.
We loaded up the equipment and hadn't driven very far when we caught glimmers of this glow coming through the trees. I urged Mike to hurry up and get up there.
Travis had the door open before we even stopped. As he got closer, I heard the sound.
One of the guys said, "You feel that?"
I really panicked then.
I told him, "Get the hell out of here."
It didn't come directly to me, it came to a deputy sheriff.
Three of us volunteered right away to tell him what had happened.
Sheriff Gillespie definitely didn't believe it.
He says that we better be certain because we can get in a lot of trouble.
When we went to search the next day, they split us up, and the whole time the deputies asked me, if you just tell us where the body is, we can all go home and get this over with.
We're talking about 100 people combing through the wooded area. Nothing turns up.
All week long, I've been hearing they're going to set it up to make you guys look guilty.
We're a rough-looking bunch then. Some of us have been in trouble with the law before.
And y'all ain't never going to come out of that jailhouse.
We couldn't get out.
I tried to sneak out the back door the day of the polygraph test. I was scared to death.
On top of that, you have media.
I literally would be on 2 telephones at the same time.
We've even got some coops in here now that's coming in and out to see the freak show, as they call it.
Everyone descends.
I just wasn't going to stand there and listen to it anymore.
Granny says, "This is Travis. I'm back. I need help."
When I did hear that he had been returned, it was almost as unbelievable as the original thing.
I just looked at my mom and says, "I told you we didn't kill him."
Travis Walton reappeared after several days with a bizarre story about a ride in an unidentified flying object.
People were desperate to explain it away.
Why are you sticking up for Travis for all this time? You know this really didn't happen.
What happened to Travis after we took off in that truck, I can't tell you.
I hated Travis for a long time after this. My whole world just tore up.
But I believe every word Travis said about it. He's never lied to me about nothing.
It's a net negative. We lost our jobs in the immediate aftermath.
And now you're not able to talk about it with anyone because you know that they're going to laugh at you, they're going to look at you like you're crazy.
But if you don't come out and tell your story, somebody else is going to tell it for you.
There's a degree of responsibility. Certainly I have to accept the bad. If I can direct what's happened in a way that I can make something good happen in the world, I'm looking for it.
Order your copy of Travis, The True Story of Travis Walton, today at www.traviswaltonthemovie.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, High Tech with Corey Kay, and every minute of the 24/7, 365 programming of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 712-432-9459, courtesy of TalkStream Live. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 712-432-9459 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 712-432-9459 for the best of paranormal, new age, thought-provoking, sci-fi radio programming 24/7, 365.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone. That's right, transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
While science pursues fact, magic accesses the quantum level, bridging random facts to form truth. As long as science and magic remain separate and polarized, the truth cannot be known. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka. Join me on the Science of Magic radio program, dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. During each episode, I'll be speaking with experienced and respected scientists and mystics. From astrologers to astronomers, from medical doctors to shaman, the scientific method to dowsing and intuition, we'll weave together information from seemingly divergent practices to promote unity and enlightenment. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic right here on the Mutual Broadcast Network. For more information, visit www.thescienceofmagic.net.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the Talk Star Radio Network and the X Zone Broadcast Network. If you'd like to give us a call worldwide, 1-800-610-7035. My email address, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com. And our websites, www.xzoneradiotv.com. And if you'd like to listen to past shows, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days of the year, go to xzonetv.com. And don't forget, all of our shows are available free of charge on iTunes. All you have to do is just put in the search engine Rob McConnell, and bang, that's it. And all our shows are there for you with our compliments. Jerry Hoskey is our special guest this hour, Exonation. He is a gifted healer, helper, and spiritual teacher with over 20 years' experience. And his website is www.psychicfitness.com. Jerry, before we went to the break, I had asked you, what are your predictions for America in the year 2010? And you gave us the one pertaining to the economy and the housing and banking. What about healthcare, Jerry? That's a rather hot topic these days.
Take a look at that. First of all, I think that this healthcare thing that they passed, they're going to tweak it, and I predict this tweak is going to be very good. I also predict that Obama is going to do a lot. They may have forced it through here and Democratic only and this kind of stuff, but I think that he is really going to continually to reach across the aisle and incorporate different ideas. It just popped in my head, so I'll say it. For some reason, I even think Arnold Schwarzenegger will kind of put a lot of input into this as well, since California is one of the biggest markets. And I think that they're going to come up with some innovative ideas to help people get some coverage without breaking the bank and without breaking the bank of individual small business participation. Maybe they'll give more tax cuts than they currently have, or something. I actually think this is going to be ultimately a really good plan. I think Obama is going to, it's kind of like the ink's not dry till the ink's dry. So this thing is still a work in progress, and I do believe it's going to work out quite well. I think they're going to borrow from some of the Canadian system, for instance, and you're probably aware of that system quite well, but I think they're going to he's going to get input from different places, different cultures, different countries, in addition to, of course, here. And I think that it's going to be ultimately a pretty good plan. People are going to be pretty okay with it. I predict it's going to be a good plan.
This past weekend, the president surprised troops in Afghanistan with a visit from their commander-in-chief. And this is a two-part question, Jerry. Number one, what about the war in Afghanistan, and what about President Obama's safety?
Of course, I want all our troops to be home and safe, and I wish we didn't have to send anybody anywhere, and all wars would be done, of course, and everyone believes that and wants that. With regarding the troops and stuff in Afghanistan and the Afghanistan situation, look, it was a broken wheel. We had to do something intuitively. I think that we had to commit more troops. I think it's more of a hornet's nest than the past administration acknowledged.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot there to fix, and I do think that these the advanced troops in there, and I do predict even maybe perhaps more troops will go. That it's going to get a handle on a lot of the holes in the pool, if you will. I don't think it's going to be fully fixed this way, but I do think it's going to be kept a little bit more under wraps. So I think it was a necessary move for this troop deployment and for these change of tactics here. It had to be done. There was really no other way except for feet on the ground. So that's what I see about that. Did that answer that part of it?
It certainly did. And how about the protection and safety of our commander-in-chief?
A couple things here regarding his safety. I believe he is much less safe outside this country than inside. I don't personally and psychically like him traveling as much. It's almost like I want triple and quadruple protection around him, as he only has double protection. And I don't mean that anything against anybody who's protecting the president. It's, extra protection is what I would like to see there, like 18 bulletproof glass things around the guy, and then some. And I do think that there are plots. Of course, you don't need these psychics, but I think there are plots related to him when he's outside the country, and that's part of the reason I don't like this. One of the lessons here with Obama being in office is, again, to go back to a similar theme, that we're all here to learn lessons about giving and receiving love. Obama's a hero outside the United States for a lot of people, as well as inside the States, of course. And, when people get attacked or when people have threats or these kinds of things, sometimes it could kind of help our culture to all come together, and can't we all get along, as Rodney King famously said years ago. And I think that some of these threats or some of these challenges are going to have him be kind of a star in moments of terror, if you will, and really help with that healing of can't we all get along? You know what I mean? And I think the racial divide and religious divide and this divide and that divide, political divide, I think that Obama is one of the characters that God has put to kind of help have everybody get along better. And I think some of these challenges regarding his safety are going to bring that to the fore with some of the lessons he's here to teach.
Exo Nation, our special guest.
But I don't like his safety outside the United States.
All right, Exo Nation, our very special guest this hour is Jerry Hoskey. His website is www.psychicfitness.com. Jerry, have any of the people that you do intuitive readings for, or that you help with their mind, body, and spirit balancing, asked you about December 21st, 2012, the end of the Mayan calendar, and what some people are predicting to be the end of the world as we know it? And if so, what is your take on it?
Well, if someone's asked me that specific question, it's been a while, but just on my own take on it, a couple things here. First of all, I do think it is real. I do not think it's a fake phenomenon. I think it's a real phenomenon. I think it's something that is going to happen. It's related to, and of course you probably know all the facts better than I do. I'm just going my intuition here. But I do think something with the planetary alignment or the polar alignment or the sun alignment or something like this is going to do some major magnetic changes, and the sunburst is going to be a major change to the Earth axis or rotation, something like this. I do predict that part of California is going to go into water. I also predict that it's almost like a seesaw, that part, when one side goes down, another comes up. I'm reminded much of like Atlantis raising, or parts of Atlantis. The city of Troy was thought to be a myth until they discovered it was no myth. It was the fact. I think they're going to discover this about Atlantis. I do believe it is in the Bimini area, in that area that Edgar Cayce had spoken of. I do think it is around that area. I think it's much larger than people think, and I think that's part of the reason people haven't been able to find it. And regarding these changes, I don't think it's going to end the Earth, but I do think it's going to be a major, major, major shift. I do think there's going to be a major changes of Earth climate and changes of land masses and stuff like this, and catastrophes regarding that. I do not think it'll kill off the entire population by any stretch, but I do think, the Indians speak of the fifth world of peace and this kind of thing. I think some of this cleansing is not the word I want to use because it sounds different, but there is a sense of like it is going to shift the Earth's axis, and it is going to shift the way it maybe turns or something. And I also predict even starting this year, outside the United States, in the United States, but there's that, what do you call it, the platelets or the plate shifting or whatever that is, that fault line thing.
Yeah.
In California, running up towards Canada.
The San Andreas Fault?
I think in the upper right area, outside the fault line, there's going to be activity or it's like a steam that burst out. And I do predict there's going to be something in the upper right area outside the normal fault line where scientists are looking. And I'm reminded much of something's boiling, and all of a sudden you think it's coming out one area, but it comes out another. And I'm reminded of upper right area if you're looking at the entire fault line.
Well, geophysicists, Jerry, are actually watching Yellowstone Park, where Old Faithful is, because they expect some natural activity to happen there that has not happened yet. So you're right on the button there.
Yeah, and I'd even, again, upper right, even outside of that area, not saying it couldn't be in that area. I also think that this year, in the second half of the year, and it certainly could happen before this, but I do predict it'll be, almost like past June to past September to in that neck of the woods. I'm almost reminded of like September-ish area, October-ish area, maybe even August, in that area somewhere. But certainly, it almost seems the second half of the year. I know this, we're already third into the year, but it seems like a lot of these shifts or changes, or the 2012 thing. But it's not like all of a sudden it's all hunky dory, and then 2012 hits, and then we have all these things. I think there's going to be clues that it's going to be worse than people anticipate, more changes than people anticipate. Lots of things like this. I do predict there's going to be a major earth shifts and major, things like this. Within that, I think some of these, record quakes and this record and that record, and of course, I don't want any of these things to happen to anybody. I hope everybody's safe as in a warm blanket with like hot cocoa with next to them. But I do think that they're going to continue to be record quake, record this, record that. I do think this is going to continue up through 2012.
Jerry, what about what about terrorism in the United States? Do you see any, or do you predict any more terrorist activity in the year 2010?
Of course, I could be wrong about any of this,
Sure.
but I'll tell you what I see here, and I hope I'm correct about this. I actually think that we're going to be safe in 2010 as far as terrorist attacks of any major sort in the United States. I am predicting that will not happen. What I see is that a lot of these holes that got plugged, when they had the 9/11 report, and then they noticed all these darn holes, and then 3-4 years later, and again, I might not be exact with the time frame here, they looked at them, and some of these holes were still there, for goodness sakes. And I think Obama, after they had that, I don't know, it was a few months ago, there was something that happened. Memory's fading me of what actually occurred. But I do think that Obama, maybe it was even in the last year, I do think that Obama plugged a lot of the holes that were there. And I think there's much more, even with some of the personal threats against Obama, unfortunately, because of his race and stuff like this, and there are a lot of, extremists out there,
Yes.
Unfortunately. But I think a lot of this has caused the United States to double and triple up their own efforts in their own security and look for places they previously didn't look, including even more of internet and cybersecurity. I think these scans are going to continue, these bodies that are controversial. I do think that's going to continue, and I think they're going to roll it out to every airport, basically, eventually. And I think that they're going to fund a lot of this stuff through. This is a side issue, but I do think that eventually marijuana will be much more legal in the United States, and I think they're going to use a lot of that funding to help with some of these security things, in addition to schools and stuff like that. I know it's a controversial statement, but that's what I see ultimately.
Boy,
that may fully come in the second term that it's fully legal, which I do predict he'll have a second term, assuming he dodges some of these challenges here to his well-being. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, and we've got about a minute before I have to take another break. What do you think that the major lesson facing America is for this year, Jerry?
Major lesson for America is to realize how good that things are now in a lot of ways. Things were a lot worse last year at this time, really, almost a year ago exactly. The sky was literally falling. What was the Dow, 6,800? Or,
yep.
It was
just
really
down
back
there,
for the bottom there. And, we're not double that, but we certainly increased it substantially. And I think that we had a real scare there. I mean, of course, when the terrorist attacks happened, there was a real scare there. But I think a lot of it is appreciating some of the simple family things, and movie night, and this, that, and the other. And I think remembering, and of course everything can get better, but things have been a lot worse. And I think remembering that, and this healthcare thing, there are a lot of people that need it, of course,
Certainly are.
and I want everyone to have healthcare. And I think that Obama really is trying, and there really is like a hope behind him, not only in this country, in America, but in the world. And I think that
Jerry, you and I have to take our break. Please stand by. Jerry Hoskey's our special guest, www.psychicfitness.com. We'll be back on the other side of this break.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone. That's right. Transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, High Tech with Corey Kay, and every minute of the 24/7, 365 programming of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 712-432-9459, courtesy of TalkStream Live. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 712-432-9459 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 712-432-9459 for the best of paranormal, new age, thought-provoking, sci-fi radio programming 24/7, 365.
Coming soon to the X-Zone Broadcast Network is A Different Perspective with me, Kevin Randle, as your host. We'll be taking a close look at what is happening in the world of UFOs today with side trips into the paranormal. Guests will range from those who are household names to those who have a different perspective on a variety of topics. No topic will be taboo, but there will be tough questions asked as we all search for the truth about UFOs, the paranormal, and those things that excite us. Sometimes we'll agree with a guest and sometimes we won't, but we'll try to keep the program topical. For those of you who like to read, be sure to visit www.kevinrandle.blogspot.com and remember to listen to the other fine programs on the X-Zone Broadcast Network at www.xzbn.net. This is Kevin Randle. For nearly 30 years, I have been investigating the case of the Roswell UFO. I have interviewed hundreds of people and stood on the crash site. Now in Roswell in the 21st century, I have reviewed dozens of hours of audio and videotaped interviews, examined hundreds of files that relate to the crash, and have returned to Roswell in an attempt to put all that information into the proper perspective. For the first time in Roswell in the 21st century, I have made a dispassionate reevaluation of all that material and provide a new look at what happened. This is a book that clears away all the clutter that has hidden the truth for so long, strips away the various lies that surround the case, exposes the Air Force attempts at cover-up, and found a core of solid information that tells us all where the case stands today. Roswell in the 21st century will be available in just a few weeks. For more information, please visit my website at www.kevinrandle.blogspot.com.
What Happened in Benghazi is revealed by Nicholas Genix, author of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. He informs the American people that President Obama deceived them by advocating a strong foreign policy prior to the 2012 presidential election, and Hillary Clinton supported this deception. As the title infers, there is a connection between Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. Ample evidence informs Americans that Obama's early indoctrination in the Quran developed an affinity for Islam, why the Quran is the source of discontent in many countries, and why the Obama foreign policy deception led to poor military action and caused the loss of American lives in Benghazi. GeneX provides 36 questions for the Select Committee on Benghazi to validate if Americans are justified to mistrust President Obama and Hillary Clinton. An overview of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi is presented on the website www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com. Afterlife expert Roberta Grimes was the first one to say that dying can be fun. Now her best-selling book, The Fun of Dying, is available in stores worldwide. So if you wonder whether death ends life, how it feels to die, or what heaven might be like, The Fun of Dying was written for you. And if you have always been afraid of death, or if you worry that your life has no meaning, let The Fun of Dying ease your fears and bring new meaning to your life. Nothing said in The Fun of Dying is based on the teachings of any religion. Instead, Roberta draws on evidence to explain how death happens, how it feels, and what comes next. A lot of the best death-related evidence was produced in the first half of the 20th century. When it is put together with recent discoveries, it tells a consistent and amazing story. Roberta Grimes blogs and answers questions at robertagrimes.com. Her wonderful book, The Fun of Dying, is available on Amazon and at stores worldwide wherever books are sold. And welcome back. Jerry Hoskey is our special guest. His website is www.psychicfitness.com. That is www.psychicfitness.com. Jerry, I understand you do intuitive business consulting for clients and companies. Now, how would a business prosper from your experience and your expertise?
Oh, a lot of ways. A lot of my business clients, they call me about, different deals, different this, different that. What about this client? What about that client? What about this deal? What about that deal? And I can give them my insight on what I see happening about that. Obviously some roads are dead ends and some roads are very prosperous and grow. And I look at that for them. Also look at their total direction and their total thing. A lot of businesses I've done like a total makeover for, whether it's been their name, their mission, what they're up to, what the new directions they're taking. So it depends on each individual client and company, but basically I can kind of tailor it to their needs and tell them what I see. Some people, you could save them a lot of money. It's a lot of companies' money if maybe there's a research thing that's not going to pan out. They might be better off putting their energies elsewhere. And of course, they could just use me as one more tool when they're bad. They could essentially save them millions and help them grow more millions.
And I guess my final question for tonight, Jerry, is will America convert to natural gas as one of its main fuels? And if so, by when?
They're fighting the lobby stuff, whether it's the coal stuff or or the entrenchment of that as one of the the conversion fuels, if you will, for a lot of the things. And I think they're going to have to get around a lot of politics and the cost and the thing about the drilling and the shale and the sideways drilling that they're doing, that they're going to make sure it's good. But I do think eventually, and I believe within 5 months, they're going to have a new plan, and it's going to start with a government plan of converting a lot of their vehicles and a lot of the ways that they generate power to homes and to factories to more natural gas usage. I believe that the prices of natural gas are going to remain depressed for a little while here, but I also think that it's going to be a huge thing with job creation, and I think that's going to be one of the impetuses as well as the conversion. Of course, clean, and it's clean fuel and whatnot, much cleaner than coal, even with that metric coal, they call it. I see it changing, and I do think it's going to happen this year. I think it's more in the stages than people currently realize. There's a belief that the administration is not behind this, but I think they're trying to work it out that it's a safe way to do it, and I do believe it's going to create a lot of jobs once they kind of full-fledged this out. I also think they're going to do it with cars eventually. They're going to start with the government fleets, and then they will that will also increase the job market among vehicle making. So I do think it's going to happen. I think that the stages are happening within 5 months. After 5 months at the latest, I do think they're going to see a lot of change this way.
Hey, Jerry, I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. I look forward to the next time you and I meet each other back here in the X Zone. Until then, my friend, thanks very much for being with us. And tell our listeners how they can contact you. Hurry up.
PsychicFitness.com. They can call me there, or 619-301-6416, my number. And bless you, Rob, and thanks for having me on. I look forward to being on again.
Hey, it's
bless everybody.
My great pleasure. Take care of yourself, Jerry. That was Jerry Hoskey, X Zone Nation, www.psychicfitness.com. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break as we continue here in the X Zone on Talkstar and X Zone Broadcast Network.